Hey guys, Tracy Pelfrey here. This is Friday, April the 19th. Before I begin, I want to just thank someone. You know what I'm thanking you for, and you know who you are. Thank you. So let's get to it. I'd like to read something for you, just some slides, and you can follow along. I've included them here. So you think you're not indoctrinated? Let's check. Indoctrination starts before you can think critically. Religious teachings often begin at a young age, before children can question or reason. Now, of course, I'm directing this to NTCC exclusively right now. When you're taught to believe something before you can think for yourself, is it really your belief or someone else's? You were taught what to think, not how to think. Indoctrination replaces curiosity with certainty. Instead of encouraging exploration, it hands you answers and discourages doubt. Were you given the tools to think critically or just told what to believe? Fear is used to keep you in line. Indoctrination teaches you to fear consequences if you question or doubt. Hell, divine punishment, rejection. These fears are designed to keep you obedient. But ask yourself, if a belief system relies on fear to keep you loyal, is it guiding you toward truth or controlling you through fear? You've been shielded from alternative ideas. If you've been told that other religions or secular views are dangerous or false without being encouraged to explore them yourself, that's indoctrination. Truth doesn't fear other perspectives. Dogma does. Critical thinking is seen as a threat. If questioning beliefs is seen as sinful or rebellious, you're dealing with indoctrination. Critical thinking is essential for discovering truth. Why would any belief system fear it? Guilt and shame are core tools of control. Indoctrination often teaches you that you're inherently sinful or broken. It makes you feel guilty for your thoughts, desires, or doubts, ensuring that you remain dependent on the belief system to redeem you. Are your beliefs truly yours? Indoctrination isn't about truth. It's about control. Freedom begins when you ask yourself, do I believe this because I've questioned it or because I was told to? Truth doesn't fear scrutiny. If your beliefs are true, they'll stand up to questions. But if you've never questioned them, how can you be sure they're yours? Now, I've just read it for you, but I would just encourage you to look at the words and think about them again and really contemplate what is going on with your life. If you are in NTCC, if you've been in the group and are out, it's always good to contemplate it in any scenario, whether you're in a relationship, whether you are at work, whether you found a different place to worship. No matter what it is, critical thinking is critical. I just want to encourage you to dive in and get you some. Get you a whole big batch of critical thinking. All right, let's go on here. I'd like to use that as a jumping off point for this service, the beginning of it. This is Mike KEKEL preaching in Graham, Washington on March 16th, 2025 with a message entitled The Good Way. Let's see what he says. This was right at the beginning of service, so I'm going to share a small portion of this, and then I'm going to share something from near the end of the service. Tell me if it doesn't sound contradictory. And while listening to what he's saying here, think about the slides I just read. It was, after all, the reason why I read them.
Stand ye in the ways and see, and ask for the old paths. Wish people would.
So I wonder which path it is that Mike is wishing people would choose. Which old path?
Where is the good way? And walk in it. Preaching to you this morning about the good way. The good way. Critical thinking is the enemy of true faith.
Really? The enemy? It's the enemy? to think critically. And it's not just the enemy of faith, but of true faith. The indoctrination is so blatant and in your face. It's stunning. It's stunning to witness. It's stunningly creepy to watch it unfold. It's always been there, but to watch it unfold in a more bold manner, I don't like it.
For most people, critical thinking amounts to just being a critic.
For most people. Where is he getting these stats from? It's just a wave of the hand and a blanket statement that indoctrinated followers just accept without thinking critically about what he's saying. All he's doing here, especially in this service, critical thinking is a certain thing. It has a definition. This dude cannot have anyone in there thinking that anyone that left because they examined, because they observed, because they listened, because they matched what was being said and done by the Bible, he has to demean it, has to relegate it to just crabby people. Most people who do critical thinking, they're just crabby and they want to criticize. I bet Mike doesn't put himself in that category. What do you think? Say that for most people that do this sort of thing, that critical thinking stuff, yeah, they're just, they don't have it right.
Which means a crabby, cynical fault finder.
Remember, he said for most people, critical thinking amounts to just being a critic. Dare I say this sounds like he's describing himself? Mike, are you dabbling in the dark art of critical thinking? It sounds like it. If that's the definition you've come up with, or that's how you know that someone has been doing that on the sly, this is just classic Mike. This is just classic. He doesn't want the people there within earshot to think critically, because apparently when people do, the fallout is, or the consequences, where does he pull this stuff from? I know where. He's trying to tell you how to think. I'm going to have to go back and check the titles of the chapters in the 48 Laws of Power, which is one of Mike's favorite books. His words, not mine. He doesn't want you accessing that part of your brain where you think critically, where you look at things. Does the scripture, he loves to talk about the Bible, right? And yet, are there verses? You can look it up online. You can look it up in your Bible. Is there anything that dissuades you from searching the scriptures on your own? Jesus came, died, rose from the grave, went to heaven, and now the whole system that is to be in place is you are to go to this building and you are to exclusively listen to this guy. You're not allowed to go anywhere else. You're just not. And if you used critical thinking to come to that conclusion, you're crabby and you're a fault finder for even looking and judging this guy according to the book he says he believes in. It's what we should be doing with anyone in our life. What do they say they believe? How do they behave? Why are they trying to control me? What he's saying has nothing to do with the Bible. It has nothing to do with God. It has to do with him being an extremist, controlling leader of a corporation. And he wants you to do what he says.
They aren't offering an objective opinion on how something measures up.
Well, I can't speak for others, but I know for myself. There is this thing, this King James version of the Bible that they hold dear to. That's the only version. And so it's very easy to go in and read it and say, oh, right here, they tell people tithe or go to hell. My objective opinion is that that's not correct. And here's why. That's just one example.
But instead, they don't like anything.
Well, let's give Mike the benefit of the doubt that he's talking generally out there in the world, the big wide world, about people who use critical thinking, which is the enemy of true faith, he said. That's what he said. He said they don't give anything in return. There's no objectivity. Well, he can't be talking about a lot of the people that have left that organization, because there is a mountain of information out on the internets about this group and about how things have been done and about how to change it. You know why? Because people really wanted to see change. Because most of us, when we got out, never even put the cult label to this organization. Not right away, anyway. Some people have been out for a long time and never have used that term. That's a big step, because then you're admitting that you were duped. That's a hard thing to come face to face with. There's been objectivity. There's been suggestions. There has been the looking at the scriptures and matching what's done in this group, instead of, they don't, on many counts, their doctrine is not Bible-based. Just because they say it doesn't make it so.
Nothing measures up to their level of intellect. So that this teaching, you need to be a critical thinker, is tantamount to saying, don't believe anything.
That is not true at all. It's not. Again, he's just trying to create a narrative.
But rather dismantle it with questions.
Why would asking questions dismantle anything? If it's strong, if it's true, how are questions a dismantling tool? Don't they instead bring about buttressing a point, or buttressing and creating a very strong foundation? Because you're like, I have some questions about things. Oh, let me answer those for you. Oh, I see. Okay. But he looks at it like dismantling, because he does not want anyone asking questions that might dismantle their man-made doctrines. So what you realize what he's saying here, right? If most people who are critical thinkers, who believe that, they're crabby and they're just critical. And they just they don't even have objective opinions. They just don't like anything, just anything. This is intense. I really hope that gets across. He cannot be humble about it and try to figure it out. No, he has to turn it on its head and say, if you're asking questions, that is tantamount to you wanting to dismantle it. It's so disingenuous and ignorant if he really believes it, which I can't believe the man believes that. If you think about it for a second, what he's saying, you're like, that is not true. Where does he get that?
If you have been convinced by some college professor or scientist that you should be a critical thinker, then just know that it means, by definition, to be a judge.
So, to judge things, not to sit with a gavel up on a high podium, being the sole arbiter of how things play out. So let's look up the definition, a definition. There's several, but they're all similar. A critical thinker is someone who can analyze information, evaluate arguments, and form judgments with objectivity and reason. They're skilled at identifying assumptions, recognizing biases, and assessing evidence to reach well-reasoned conclusions. Essentially, they think clearly, logically, and reflectively to understand and navigate complex situations. In essence, critical thinkers are not just passive recipients of information. I love this. But active participants in the process of understanding and evaluating it. They strive to understand the why behind things, challenge assumptions, and form well-supported judgments. What is wrong with that, I ask you?
Not just make a judgment on things. That's what it should mean. Critical thinking should be to apply proper judgment.
What do you want to bet Mike's form of critical thinking is proper judgment? I'm pretty sure it is. This is like the fourth time I'm listening to him say that particular part, and it just hit me. That's what it should be, to apply proper judgment. He's using his words advisedly. What's proper judgment? Proper judgment is not asking him questions that come across as judgy. By nature of you asking a question that's not true judgment, you've entered the realm of dismantling the whole thing.
Rather than walk around judging everyone. There's a difference, and a biblical one at that.
What is it?
All their intellect people have, and yet they seem to become fools sometimes. So listen, if that caused you to tune out real quick. If offense drowned out your critical thinking for a moment.
The things he says, offense drowned out your critical thinking. He's always so mean to them. And it is mean to have such contempt and to be so negative. I mean, for crying out loud, he's supposed to be the pastor. Look that up. Ask questions about that, dare you? Or don't do it. You'll dismantle the whole pastorship. Whatever you do, don't tune out on Mike. He will point it out.
These people don't like being judged. And all I'm saying is, sometimes something good, like real critical thinking, analytical thinking, can become something else. It can lead to misguided criticism.
Misguided criticism. Tracy, why do you keep stopping to re-say the words? Because he says these things. And I think if you're just sitting there listening to the whole thing as it goes along, you have a sense that something's weird. But when you start to break it down, even for myself, re-listening to it, misguided. It's misguided. And Tracy, he never used your name or people like you. So why are you responding to it as if he has specifically said your name? That is a good, critical thinking question. All right, we're getting somewhere. I listen to all the services. I know his MO. This is his MO. He's in damage control mode. People are asking questions. People have questions. To him, you're judging. You're not just accepting. If the man of God tells you in the house of the Lord what to think, you just do it. And I refer back to those posters that I read at the beginning of this clip. And to be a critical thinker to him it's the enemy of true faith. It's tantamount to dismantling it. Did you know you could dismantle the whole thing just by asking questions? Now you know.
In every case, a truly wise person fears God and shows all respect toward God.
Oh man, I forgot about this part. I wasn't going to leave it in. I was going to do this tomorrow with the rest of the service, but let's just go ahead. We're there right now. Let's let her rip.
Don't sink down. I'm not saying anything, but just nice stuff.
He's just saying nice stuff. Why are they looking at him like that? Whatever that is. He's saying nice stuff. Nice stuff. Very nice.
Not throwing tomatoes out there at you today.
I'm going to answer that statement by telling you that I'm not going to answer that statement. Nope. Zip the lip.
This respectful person who has a consciousness of God, fears God, shows respect toward God, takes his hat off when he walks into the house of God.
Now, I haven't cut anything out here, and I have to say, Mike is usually all over the place in his messages. It definitely never goes linear. It goes wah, 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 all over the place. So you're listening along about critical thinking. Next thing you know, he's talking about respecting God. And here we go to the holy house, this holy building, the building that didn't God ask, what house will you build for me? I don't ever hear them refer to that one. That is my objective opinion based on scriptures found in the Bible. Don't call it a house of God. Don't call it the house of the Lord. Why are you doing that? Trying to make it seem like it's some holy temple, some holy place of worship. Now, there are social etiquettes that used to be all the time, especially when I was younger. Removing hats was one of them. Till somewhere along the way, hats pretty much became a part of the head. I notice changes in culture. That's what he wants in his building, his corporate building, is people to remove hats. Then maybe he should put a sign out there to say that, because he has to realize the culture he lives in now, whether he likes it or not as an old man. I'm an old lady, I can say that. You have to be cognizant of the changes. You have to. So then you won't come out and use your pulpit to possibly, I don't know if there's anyone sitting there who wore a hat into the church building. I don't know if there was recently. I don't know if there's a person sitting there that had worn a hat at one time. But Mike's way is to bring everything, all the dirty laundry, all the things, all the negative things have to come out over the pulpit. They can't be brought to the side gently and lovingly, because they don't go in for all that Jesus' love stuff anyway. So why would they? This is the preferred method. And quite frankly, it stinks. Instead of doing this, why not just put a sign, or have the sponsors of new people tell them, oh, we don't wear hats in here. Just have people do what you want to do. There's a lot of places you go, and they'll ask you. Even here at the beach, you can't just walk in everywhere in your flip-flops and bathing suit. He's now jumped from this critical thinking being a true enemy of faith, questions being tantamount to dismantling You don't often hear somebody like him say what almost every cult book will tell you, is that questioning is not allowed. It's why, I truly believe it's why, up in Graham especially, there is no sit-down Bible study with the pastor. You're not going to see it. It's not happening. You're not going to be able to ask a question in front of others. That's hilarious. Yeah, that ain't happening. Sorry. The hat thing, hey, he reserves the right as the CEO to make those rules, but why not make it clear? Put a sign or something. But don't equate it to, because this is my personal opinion. This is my critical thinking, subjective opinion, is that though I grew up in the same era as Mike, nobody wore hats indoors. They always took them off. And then I was in the military. And if you didn't take it off when you walked in the building, usually there was some punishment that went along with it. I don't wear hats, but I'm allowed to, apparently, as a woman. If I go indoors, I can keep a hat on. Men are not allowed to go, or they weren't. Now it is widely accepted. I don't know if I've ever seen it in a more formal setting, but I think if you have a corporation, because is this a God thing? He's making it as it always was. There was a form of respect, and Mike has been bemoaning lately the lack of respect for pastors and preachers. Even if they do something wrong, they should be respected. He actually uses the word clergy here. That's coming up. But let's finish this out. It's not a point of contention for me. I'm judging them by the book, but he's saying this. Aren't there other ways to get that across? But he always has to be negative. It's negativity. He doesn't want to do all that Jesus' love stuff. Him and Phil keep pushing that. Their God is the God of fiery judgment pretty much all the time.
He bows his head before he walks in the house of God. He bows his head when prayer is taking place.
Another critical thinking question. Why does the head have to be bowed? Why? Because he says so.
He doesn't dare disrespect clergy even if they're wrong.
When I heard this, I could not believe it, because this isn't the first time lately. He's using the word clergy, which is very interesting. When have you ever heard Mike use the word clergy? Let's hear this again.
He doesn't dare disrespect clergy even if they're wrong or cultists or anything, but solely on principle.
If they're clergy that are wrong or cultists, it doesn't matter. They are to be respected. This is big. Why is he saying this? Why is he casting a line to see what he can get away with, or what? I'm sorry, but many watched the evolution of Dennis when he left NTCC, and where he is now is such a wicked, evil place. And Mike is incrementally pushing the boundaries and pushing the boundaries incrementally. This is serious. What could be the other reason for saying this? I believe he chose those words because it looks like he's reading it off the podium, off whatever he's looking at there. This is not something he's doing extemporaneously. He wanted these things to be in the message. That's my subjective opinion on the matter. What do you think? My friends, my listening friends here, you know what he's saying? Please listen to that part again. Please. If this isn't blatant, I don't know what is. Let's hear this again.
He doesn't dare disrespect.
He says he doesn't dare disrespect. He doesn't dare. He doesn't dare. Those are strong words.
For the fear of God, we dare not tread in certain areas just because we respect God.
If you respect God, you will respect the clergy. The self-appointed let me remind you of that. He's self-appointed, which means anybody with a bug up their butt that says, wakes up one morning and says, I'm a man of God. I'm called to be a man of God. I want respect, whether I'm wrong or a cultist. You're going to respect me because you respect God. Do you believe in this same God that Mike KEKEL does? I wonder. And doesn't dare disrespect. Does not dare. The clergy gets respect whether they do something wrong or are a cultist. He said it. There's nothing edited out. Go listen to the service. Go to NTCC, Graham, Washington. Look at, what day did I say? It's titled The Good Way. If you go on YouTube and you go under their videos, look under live, and in the search box, type in The Good Way and you'll find it. Listen to the whole thing. I'm going to end it here soon and we'll do a part 2. After all the critical thinking stuff he said, he does contradict himself later in the service. Surprise, surprise. This is huge to me, and that's why I want to leave you with this, to consider it, to ruminate, to mull it over. This to me is huge. Who talks like this? Who says this? Who demands respect, whether they're wrong or not? And why should you do it? Because you respect God. That's why. For no other reason. Do you believe the God of the Bible is on board with this?
That can be a tool for people to demand respect, but you can't demand respect. You have to command it by the way you live.
Maybe that's why you're lacking in the respect department, Mike.
Respect is given, it is not driven.
And yet, he's forcing it. He's saying you should give the respect just because you respect God. You give it to cultists or clergy who's wrong. That is not getting it by the life you live. That is demanding it. And you're holding over their head. If you respect God, this is what you're going to do. Don't be critically thinking about this now. Don't be generating any questions. It's just going to dismantle. And it's the enemy of faith. He said it. Okay, we will continue tomorrow with part 2 with the rest of the service.